What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to your channel. For today's video, we're doing a little bit of a pulse check on the state of the league. We are going into the holiday break. I don't know why we did 4 matches and then are now going to a holiday break, but that's neither here nor there. So now we have some time to dissect the league, the best players, the best teams. We have some actual concrete evidence to go off of instead of, oh, these guys look good at scrim. So today's video is going to be my top 5 players to look out for moving into the rest of stage 1. Obviously, there are players that are not going to be in this video that definitely have cases to be in the video. Like I said, these are my players. You guys can feel free to disagree if you would like. Without further ado, let's get started. Number 1 on the list, with absolutely zero personal bias taken, is going to be Ken from Optic Texas. Now, guys, I was touting Ken over the offseason. I'm not getting into it. I was definitely waving my Kenny foam finger over the offseason. His roster move over to Optic Texas was pretty highly scrutinized for good and bad reasons. A lot of people think that they should have went a different route, either keeping Dan, maybe picking up Sib to have Sib and Pred on the same team. There was just a lot of names getting tossed out, and a lot of people originally were happy with Kev. There's also a fair amount of people that really didn't want him on the roster, and he has immediately shut everybody up. He's been incredible in all 3 game modes. He's extremely vocal in every listening that I've heard thus far. And through 4 games, he's made more clutch plays than I think anyone in the CDL has. He has been an immediate fix for this roster. He fits like a glove, and I definitely want to give Ken his flowers. He's been their most consistent player, barring AG or Pred, but he's been unbelievable. Now, like I said, it isn't a specific game mode thing with him, and the numbers really don't back it up. Like, he's not top 5 in overall KD, number 1 slay rating or anything like that. But when you just watch the games, it's very evident that Ken is making an extreme impact on every map that they play, and that is something that I value more than leading a statistical category, while he does lead hardpoint KD, or at least top 5. So I just want to give my flowers to Ken. I myself expected a little bit of an adjustment period with this roster, but it seems like they kind of just hit the ground running. They did start later than everybody, but it seems like they're picking things up pretty quickly. And they really don't have any game mode weaknesses. Now, Optic's only loss is to New York in a game 5 round 11, which was just an absolute toss on the side of Optic Texas. It was bad, but I just want to give Ken his flowers. I think he's been playing unbelievable, and I think a lot of the fans have definitely started to figure out the same wavelength that I am on when it comes to Ken, for sure. Now, for number 2 on my list, we are going to the red side of the CDL for Simp. Now, Chris is probably, to nobody's surprise, ending up on this list. He has looked essentially in MVP form already, like 4 matches in. He hit the ground running. He had I think it was either the first or the second series. They did a post-game interview with him, and he said that he already feels like this is one of his best titles. He's happy to have Dead Silence back, 150 health. When the game is a little bit more fundamental, when there is a skill gap involved, when you can make plays with Dead Silence and Search and Destroy, that seems to be where Chris kind of shines. I do believe he is 2nd in overall KD right now, like 2nd in damage per minute, like 5th in hardpoint KD. Like, he is dominating in an otherwise AR game. He's doing it all, which on his role that he prefers, I guess, which is a flex. I mean, that's just the meta game right now, but he's doing it with both guns, which is obviously very impressive. Now, like I said, it is extremely early season. This is a kind of a short-sighted video now that we actually have some things to go on, seeing how the teams stack up against each other. Not everybody has the same strength of schedule going through 4 games. I believe they've played Boston, Seattle, and LAT. Boston and LAT struggling pretty heavily. Seattle actually looking fairly decent. FaZe did kind of have their way with them, but Seattle has looked good as of late. But yeah, Simp has been unbelievable, I think, to the shock of absolutely 0 people. Moving on to number 3 on the list, which is actually, I think, a shock to 99.9% of the people watching this video. That's gonna be Medalz from the Miami Heretics. Now, if you guys want to talk about stats, I genuinely think he might be top 5 in every statistical category that is currently being tracked by anyone. Miami has looked unbelievable so far. I am going to bring up strength of schedule here because they have played the Minnesota Rocker, the Las Vegas Legion, and the Carolina Royal Ravens. Now, granted, they are kind of destroying the bottom end of the league, but at the same time, that's a good sign, because you should be absolutely obliterating the teams that are worse than you. There should be no room for interpretation on how good or bad your team is when you're playing teams like that. If you guys think to the Carolina and Optic series that happened semi-recently, Miami's leaving no room for interpretation, no room for discussion. They are putting the teams down that they should be beating, and I want to give Medalz his flowers, as well as the rest of the Heretics roster. They look incredible. But Medalz, yeah, I think he has the lone 20k damage series so far in the CDL. These guys look like a well-oiled machine. They are moving across the map with unbelievable teamwork, and that is just something that you kind of notice looking at the mini map. I know zero Spanish, so I would have to imagine that their comms are pretty good. I do hear Vamos from time to time, but just the way that these guys are working together, I'm extremely happy to have them back in the CDL. I'm a huge fan of Javier Vickle. He and I are pretty good friends. And it's just really cool to see the resurgence of Medalz, man. And the last time we really got a good sample size for him wasn't Black Ops 4. So the fact that he has just started this year off so strong. Again, the strength of schedule is a little misleading here. We are yet to see them against a quote-unquote top 4 team. I am expecting them to play well. Just when you look at this team, it seems like they're all on the same page, which is usually a recipe for success. Even if the 4 players in the other team are quote-unquote better, these guys just have unbelievable teamwork right now. So I'm excited to see what they do. I want to give Medalz his flowers. I genuinely think that he is one of the best players in this game right now. Again, I'm not one for stats, but he's top 5 in fucking everything. At number 4 on the list, we are going to go with Pred, again from Outhick, Texas. I got 2 of these motherfuckers on here. I'm sorry. I can't not put him on here. I think since their second series, he's been positive like 9 straight maps. He leads control and overall KD, I believe. I think he's like top 10 in hardpoint KD. I think he's number 4 in overall KD. Granted, the Outhick guys did have a little bit of a pad session against the Royal Ravens there, but I can't not put AG on the list. He has looked unbelievable. Optic picked him up to be the ultimate green light superstar on the map, and that is exactly what he has done. He finds himself in the situation that he was essentially begging for all of last year. If you guys remember that whole fiasco when he almost joined, then didn't join, and now he's back, and it's just a lot of back and forth last year. So I'm happy to see Pred in a spot where he wants to be and performing. There are a few feelings in the world that really match that, so I can tell these guys enjoy playing together. I can tell that the chemistry is definitely flowing. Now, number 5 on the list is a spot of contention. Definitely, I'm going to put Toby Kleenex on here. I know there's going to be a case for Hydra from the New York Subliners. I do not have any New York players on here, but I also want to give a shout out to Dylan Attach because he has been playing unbelievable, although the Vegas Legion got absolutely no semblance of ice on that roster. But big shout out to Dylan because he's been playing well. But I'm going to put Toby on here strictly because he plays one of the hardest roles in this entire game in an AR-based world on these maps, and he is the picture of consistency for the Ultra this year. I will say they do have a loss. It is to the Boston Breach in a non-competitive series. I think Dylan Envoy forgot to lace his shoes that day. Toronto having the only loss in the top 4 outside of, or to a non-top 4 team, excuse me. Toby's been the literal picture of consistency. I think he's number 1 in Slayer rating right now. He's unbelievable in S&D. He's top 5 in that category. He has been a statistical superstar as well as just the eye test. That guy is flying at all times. You know, I'm a pretty big fan of the way that Kleenex plays. If you guys remember last year when I did my tier list for Modern Warfare 2, I had him pretty high and I got some scrutiny for it. So I've always been aboard the Kleenex hype train a little bit. I just respect the way that he plays Call of Duty, and I think I'm going to put him in my top 5 again. You guys can feel free to disagree with me, but the pace that he sets is genuinely unbelievable. The only people that rival that are really like Tyler Beasy, Reese Viven, like maybe some other people off the top of my head, but he plays with unreal momentum in the map. He can single-handedly take over series for you, and he has been Toronto Ultra's most consistent and best player without a doubt this entire season. Granted, again, sample size is small, but I mean, he's been doing it for years at this point, so who's not to say that he will continue to do it going forward. So that is my top 5, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, who you would drop, who you would add, and I appreciate the support nonetheless. Quick side note, if you guys do follow the YouTube, make sure to sub. We are doing watch parties exclusively on YouTube now as per the YouTube exclusivity deal with the CDL, so make sure you guys are subbed. All of the CDL content going forward will be on the YouTube, so make sure you guys are here for that on Friday, Saturday, Sundays. So thank you guys for watching. As always, have a fantastic